Welcome to Performance Driven Living, the podcast where we question everything. We don't tiptoe around tough topics, we walk right into them. Not to provoke, but to get closer to what's real. You might not agree with everything you hear, and that's okay. The show isn't about being right, it's about being real. These conversations are meant to stretch your thinking, challenge assumptions, and spark something deeper. The views shared are those of our guests and may not reflect those of the host or team. And while we dive deep into health, performance, and transformation, this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor before making changes to your health or lifestyle. Take what lands, leave what doesn't. But whatever you do, don't stop questioning.
We are here with Performance Driven Living. I'm your host, Mark Young, and I am here with our guest, Brian Burzynski, who is the founder, and the producers, I always say the producers do this better than I could, so I'm gonna read this, so don't be offended by that, because they always write like much better than I would ever say, so I would butcher this. But Brian Burzynski, a quantum engineer turned body mechanics pioneer. Are you being humble about this, or is this untrue?
I never went to school for any of it. I just studied really hard.
It doesn't mean that I didn't say,
Right.
I didn't say
Yeah.
graduated with a degree in quantum
but some people go, oh, he didn't have a degree, so I don't. But I've studied stuff like crazy.
Which means you actually know what you're doing, because the other people just got a degree in it. And
People think so, yeah.
there you go. Very good. Well, Brian is the founder of Synergy Release Method and Intelligent Threads, technologies that are not just treating structural dysfunction, but giving people the tools to realign their bodies within minutes. From professional athletes to everyday people, his work is changing lives. Like, see, I would never have said all that stuff on my own.
That's pretty good.
I know, seriously, right? Like, I can't not do that. Like, and it also makes me feel like I'm giving them value by actually reading it out loud.
Yeah.
Because like I tend to skip over and ignore most of this stuff.
Yeah,
But
me too.
I know it's terrible, right? I'm like, I just get talking for like 45 minutes or something like that, and then forget that I had questions that were supposed to be asked. But
That's the best time. That's the best way, though.
honestly, it's the only podcast
yeah.
that I'd listen to.
Exactly,
So,
real.
I don't want to listen to some scripted nonsense.
heck no.
I'll go to the movies for that.
But so true.
But Brian, I genuinely, like, I want to, you know,
Yeah.
you're a quantum engineer.
I don't know about that, but go ahead.
And I don't even know that anybody even knows what quantum engineering is.
They don't.
So the reality is you can call it whatever you want, because no one understands what that is anyways, and I'm not
Right.
going to say that I even do. But I was excited to know that you were coming today, because this whole quantum energy frequency world is a place that my head is just stuck lately.
Yeah.
And I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's the red pill.
Yep.
And once we realize that I did an interview with Philip von Holzendorf.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
And first of all, give me props. I pronounced that correctly.
And very, very true. That's impressive. I'm impressed.
But love Philip. He's a great guy. And having this whole conversation about biofields and the energy that we emit is
Yep.
the energy we attract.
Yes.
And I was like, I was talking with somebody recently, and that whole conversation about quantum energy just kind of blew my mind. And I was a college professor for years. Okay,
Oh, wow.
Nothing in
Okay.
quantum physics, I assure you. But I say that we teach best what we need to learn most.
Yeah.
That like the things that we need to learn through teaching them and having to explain them, we end up actually digesting that information differently and better than we ever could.
Absolutely.
Which I love that concept. And I think that's the reason why like TAs and stuff on college campuses are amazing, because they're going to actually understand their field even better, because they had to explain it to other people that
That's
are
right.
coming up behind them. But while I was talking to somebody, we got into this conversation about energy fields, and the energy that I give off is the same energy that I'm going to receive. And I'm like, you know, and I'm on this journey right now, because I think we're all constantly different versions of ourselves on a regular basis. And my version is like, wait a minute, like all of this ancient wisdom that we've discounted in the name of science for all
Yeah.
these years is actually back. And we're realizing that all of the things that were rules back then, even though they didn't have a scientific explanation, we got so smart to come up with the science just to prove that it was right back then. And I was
Yeah,
like,
pretty
so
much.
if we should have just kept it
Pretty
and saved ourselves a lot of effort here, but now we're all the way fast forward and we're like, wow, this all is true. And I'm like, it kind of reminds me of when I think about this exchange of energy biofield. It's like, you know,
Yes.
do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I'm like, golden rule, biblical principle, words of Jesus. And I'm like, is he literally explaining a biofield to us.
Pretty much.
That we've taken as a kindness begets kindness kind of conversation, that if you're polite to someone, they're probably polite back. And, don't take revenge on a person unless you want someone to take revenge on you. And I'm like, fair. All of that is true. But I'm like, is it deeper than that? Is it literally an energy emission? And again, you're the quantum engineer. I'm just teeing you up to take off here.
No, I think I couldn't have said it better myself. When I started trying to figure out how the muscle structure and how the body worked, I've been doing this over 25 years. And when I first started, I was 20 years old. I started learning when I was 18, and then I started working when I was 20. And I remember this lady walked in my office, and she goes, I'm working on her, and she goes, oh, I can feel the energy flowing through my body. I'm like, this lady's crazy. Whatever. Right. Because you're not taught any of this. And I was like, whatever. And then
what were you doing at the time? What were you?
So it's energy release method.
Okay.
It's a technique. We balance out the structure. And I was like, whatever. And then, but it stuck with me. And I started thinking about it. And I started going, and then some more people said it. And I was like, okay, what is this? And I said, well, there's life in the blood. Mm-hmm. But that means there's energy in the blood. So if they feel their blood moving around, they're feeling energy moving around. So that's kind of how my first thought. Mm-hmm. But then there's so much more. And there's so much, like, we don't even know anything. I don't know anything. There's so much more we don't understand at all. The more I dive into it, I realize I don't know anything the way I should know it. And so like with our stuff, I just literally figured out what correlates with the muscles and was able to put that into fabric so when you put it on, the muscles release. But I think it's the tip of the iceberg.
I agree with you.
I think there's so much more out there.
So Intelligent Threads,
yes.
the company that you're here at the conference representing, right, obviously, and is using literally clothing, but multiple different types of what do I say, accessories even, right? It's not just T-shirts. Yeah. But they're quantum infused fabric that actually releases muscle tension. Right? Like,
correct. Yeah, 100%.
Which is incredible. And I actually know members of my own staff who tried it at another conference and were like, oh my gosh, like my shoulder pain went away. That was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And it, which is kind of interesting to me because one of the other things that I had read recently is there was an article that was actually talking about how fabric itself, different types of fabric, have a frequency that is just inherent to that type of fabric. Yeah. And that weaving two different types of fabric together can actually cause a frequency problem. That two different types of fabric don't necessarily cohabitate well together.
Correct.
And of course, my head goes immediately back to Old Testament Jewish laws that say, never use two types of fabric woven together. Yeah. You never mix cotton and linen or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, like again, like ancient wisdom. And now all of a sudden we're studying quantum frequencies only to figure out that, well, maybe that was accurate way back then, right? Like 6,000 years ago, maybe they had figured it out. Which is super interesting to me. But when you're doing, that you're not talking about the frequency that exists in the fabric. You're actually imprinting a different frequency, layering that over what already exists.
Yeah, within it, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, how does that work? Like, I mean, when people think like I'm imprinting something on a shirt, like I get this, I'm stamping ink of some sort. It's like, I mean, am I building a force field? Like, what's going on when you imprint a fabric? I'll set you up a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
We did an episode recently with the girls at Code Health.
Oh yeah, great people.
Love Wendy and Lisa.
They're awesome.
and they actually do frequency imprinted saline water.
Genius.
And it's brilliant stuff. And I use their product. I love the girls tremendously. And they actually, one drop under your tongue and your headache goes away. And it's like, what witchcraft is this, right? but it's because they're imprinting on this. And I'm going to ask you to break that down into layman's terms because we're actually imprinting quantum energies in water. And I'm like, that none of those words make sense next to each other to the average person.
No. So no one ever really comes up with anything, right? We just figure out how to make stuff work better. And then we figure out the basis of it, and then we can move forward in that area. And then the interesting part is, like, if I made a better toaster, we could compare the old toaster with the new toaster. But if we make something that's not readily available, it's starting to become readily available. Like, just the people you've already mentioned, they're all dabbling in the space, or quite a bit in the space, I should say. Yeah. So they figured out what interacts with the body properly, and then that's what they use to charge or imprint, or whatever you like to call it, into a box of saline water or whatever else. So my background is in structural therapy. Mm-hmm. And so I knew if I could get the muscles to let go, then the bones of the body would straighten back up, or at least have a chance to straighten up.
Yep. My chiropractor operates from that method. He actually...
Oh, awesome.
He'll actually start a chiropractic session with, you've got to do compression. Well, they'll pull you into the room, and then they'll do heat, and then you'll lay on the heat to try to do this, and then they'll do a few different things before he even comes in the room.
Smart, very smart.
And then when he comes in, he does all tissue release.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, usually I'm singing opera by the time I'm walking out of there, because it's I'm screaming sometimes, asking him to stop.
Yeah.
And he deals with it all the time, right? You'll just hear folks screaming from the next room because he rolls out every major muscle in your body like a tube of toothpaste.
That's awesome.
And he's like, this is pent up trauma in your muscle.
Yep.
We need to get rid of it. And literally he'll be he's going down your quad. No one wants their quad massaged, right?
No.
And
or the calf.
And he's going down there like you're in a vice grip on a roller. Whew. And it's and I'm coming out of my skin.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
He gets to the end and he's like, hey, we're almost there. Ooh, there it is, right? And he does it, and it's literally like a spiritual experience when he's done.
Oh, for sure.
Right,
Yeah.
and he's doing every major muscle group. But for instance, I went and I was like, my neck hurts really bad. And he's like, all right, lay down, face down, whatever. And he immediately goes over to my left hip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, my right shoulder.
He knows what he's doing.
My neck.
That's what that means.
And he's just like, no. And he goes, that just means that you're out of alignment down here. It's pulling it in the other direction.
100%.
So he literally starts every session with, some sort of masochistic torture. Then he'll do an adjustment. And his answer is always, there's no reason for me to try to adjust your structure. And he goes, because
Amen.
all of the tissue is just going to pull you back out of alignment
Amen.
and you get off this table and walk out the door.
You're saying what I usually say.
and apparently I found the right guy.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
And a friend of mine had introduced me to him, and she was like, I call him Dr. Torture, but trust me, try him. And I was like, okay. And then literally I went at lunch one day from work, and then I ended up going back to my office, and I sat at my desk in a coma the rest of the day. I was like, I can't even explain what just happened. It was the I'll say trauma release, but whatever it was that he was doing, that just releasing the pent up tension that was all over my muscular system was unreal.
Yeah.
Now, I am fascinated by the thought that this can happen without that amount of torture.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, 100%.
Because the torture, in a weird sort of way, may be pleasurable, but the reality is you're imprinting this type of muscle release, this tissue work into fabric.
Pretty much. So that's when I first started when I was 20, that's kind of what we did. We just got after it. Just squeezed, pushed, pulled, strained, use your elbow. And it worked because once you can fatigue the nerves, the muscles let go, and then you can, the body will start straightening back up. And so it was great. But at the end of the day, I'm walking around with my hands, can't use my hands. I'm sore, I'm beat up. And I'm thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's kind of what started me down the journey of this. So I was like, Lord, how do I do this? And it was funny too, because God spoke to me. He's like, I'm gonna send you on a journey. And I'm like 21 years old. A week later, I'm thinking, I wonder if I'm still on my journey.
A week later.
Yeah.
It was just a weekender.
15 years later, I had, now I know how to do this. But anyways, so I started trying to figure out how all the muscles work together. And the crazy part is all of a sudden we could, or not all of a sudden, 15 years, but over the time, yeah, I know, it's in your mind, it's all of a sudden.
Yeah, right.
as we went down this path, I could get the muscles to respond with less and less effort. And then but we use stem units, we use thumpers, we use all that stuff. And there's a place and time for all that. It's not bad.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, you put one of our clothes on, your muscles let go, but you still might have scar tissue. They still might have to go in there and dig that out. You might have tendons that don't let go. You know what I'm saying? There's still more manual work that can be very beneficial. But if you can get the basis of the muscles to let go, now there's nothing holding the structure back, besides scar tissue or something. And the majority of people we see, once we get their muscles let go, then it's very easy to go back and get all the joints in the right position. In fact, we figured out stretches you can do yourself to put your own joints back in place that I don't even have. So I'm trying to keep people out of my clinic. That should be my goal.
Business plan.
It's a horrible business plan, but it's actually really good because I'm going to do such a good job on you. I don't have to see you again, but you're going to go tell all your friends.
So I'm gonna take us in a weird direction.
But do what you want to do.
I want to get back to this fabric and all this kind
of
stuff.
stuff.
I may just put it over my shoulder to see what happens. But
please.
But the reality is you just said, Lord help me. God gave you a vision, and I'm hearing a Christian bent from you, and same. And I've got graduate degrees in theology, the whole deal,
sweet.
right? So fun connection there. But I was talking with a friend of mine last night who's also a Christian, but also deep in science, and I was like, I'm going to go on a tangent here, which I haven't done in another episode. So if you've listened to this before, sorry. But the reality is that people of faith tend to have this anti-science kind of like, some faith is faith. You got to, science is fine, but faith is faith. Like, it's not faith if you figure it out. And it's like, and then science tends to have this, if we can't prove it, it doesn't exist.
Right.
And there's this polarity.
Yeah.
That we've created as a culture around faith and science can't exist. And, I would historically go back and say, but science was actually was actually most science that we consider to be early science was church sponsored.
Yeah.
Right? It was
100%.
It was the church that was actually sponsoring the research that was being done.
Yeah.
And that's Galileo, that's early planetary astronomers, that's medicine, that's like, and I mean, maybe imperfectly executed,
absolutely.
But faith and science used to cohabitate in some weird ways. But that being said, part of where my journey has me right now, which is kind of interesting because I say, the entire show is about me learning more things and other people just coming along for the ride. But someone asked me like, well, what are you learning lately? And I'm like, honestly, I feel like I'm in a season of unlearning. Like,
now you're starting to learn.
Right. I feel like I'm unlearning things more than I'm learning things right now, because so many things, you don't get a graduate degree in theology, and I also have a graduate degree in clinical psychology.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird combination anyways, right? And then a doctorate in education, which is a whole different discipline. Like, I'm all over the place. But you get all of these things, and I'm like, but all of this cohabitates because there's no dissonance in me that believes all of these things, and if there's no dissonance, then there's a harmony. Like, so where is the harmony behind the fact that I can believe in quantum frequency, and I can also believe that Jesus came and walked the earth? Like I don't have a problem with those two things coexisting. And in fact, from a spiritual standpoint, I was talking to a friend of mine who's, Eastern European Baptist, father was a minister type person. I was like, you ever thought, like, because I was wearing my Leela quantum pendant. And I thought, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know, to be honest with you. It's a quantum pendant, and people say it makes me feel aligned, and sure, why not? Like, it looks cool. And we got in this conversation, like, it's frequency based, like it's quantum frequency based. Well, yeah, but what does it do? Like, it literally just helps align energy fields. Right. Well, how do you know it's working?
Right.
I don't, like, but I believe the science behind it.
Right.
And like, so to me, maybe that's faith. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I said, tell me, like, when people literally are able to, at a vibrational level, impact through sound, through energy, electricity, through frequency, like through all of these different types of modalities, like, we're watching healing take place. Like, and we also can all agree that we are vibrational patterns.
Absolutely.
Like, every one of us is a vibrational pattern, and that's the do unto others thing, right? Like, vibrate at the frequency that you wish to attract, because like frequencies come together.
Absolutely.
Sure, I can believe that. And I said, I said, well, I'm going to challenge everything you believe then. I said, is it possible that Jesus was as self-actualized as you can imagine and just knew how to vibrate at the frequencies that brought healing to the person he was vibrating toward?
Exactly.
And we called it miraculous.
Yep, exactly.
Like, is that literally what we're talking about? And the fact that he was able to ascend and transfigure on the Mount of Transfiguration, and they saw him glowing, and like,
And walk through a wall.
And walk through walls. Correct.
And the food that he ate went with him.
Correct. The food he ate actually went along.
Yep.
And he was actually able to eat, so he wasn't a ghost. Like, how did all of this happen?
Yeah.
And again, we trust it by faith. And I'm like, or is there something so much deeper that we just haven't tapped into?
Amen. That's it. Yeah, for sure.
And when I'm
and they're starting to.
Yeah, I think we're baby stepping into this whole
Absolutely.
quantum space right now. And even Einstein actually, we quoted that quantum healing, quantum medicine is the medicine of the future.
Yes, sound and vibration, yeah.
Right, and that was what, 70 years ago, 80 years ago?
Yeah, his theory is based on that light is a constant rate, but actually light changes. So that blows his theory, unfortunately.
But I think he believed...
But the groundwork is there.
The groundwork.
The groundwork's there 100%. But in his mind, you could go a lot of different directions, but in his mind, God was light, and so that's what he based it on. So, but it's not constant because it's not that kind of light. So he was thinking light speed.
I think perhaps the definition of light gets confused with our common understanding of that.
From what I've been reading lately, that's some of the discussions are about. I'm thinking that's really fascinating. But anyways.
Well, and I agree with that. Like, is it the possibility that, I mean, we hear about how there's, spiritual things going on all around us.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it that they're just at a frequency we can't detect, almost like a dog whistle?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why is it that the dog's ear can hear things that we can't hear?
Exactly.
And we don't think that's weird.
Yeah. Why can we only see or hear certain things?
Correct.
Because there's a huge amount of data out there that we're not collecting or gathering.
Totally.
But other people can sense it or feel it.
Well, and the whole idea that if a dog can hear a whistle we can't understand, who's to say that a dog can't see a spiritual being that we just can't see?
Amen. Yeah.
Like, if we can't hear the whistle, why is it weird to think that they can perhaps sense or see?
Absolutely.
Literally see? Because you see dogs get freaked out by stuff sometimes that we have no presence, we have no cognition.
Yeah.
And the dog is spooked.
Right.
And it's like, oh, the dog's alarmed. It's like, well, sure, the dog's clearly alarmed. Like, there's clearly something going on there. But at the same time, like, it makes me start thinking, like, there's something else past what we currently understand. And I think we'd be fools not to put all of our, pardon the pun, but put all of our energy into trying to figure that out.
Absolutely. There's like, it's funny you bring all this up because it's like, I learn more by just reading the word. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, the Bible's just old or whatever. But man, when I get in there, there's so many keys in there. They're like, when you get in there, everything I've ever learned is in the word. Like, and so I'm like, man, this is just like speaking to me. And then as you get in there and you develop that relationship with God, like, it becomes so alive. And then you can read the same word, the same passages 20 times. And the 21st time, all of a sudden, you're thinking that it just speaks
something
to you.
Totally different, right?
5 years later, you're still reading the same passages. You get something completely different. Because what it is though, is you're growing.
Totally.
So your understanding when you read it is here. But as you grow in your understanding, your wisdom's great, but you still have to have the understanding for it. And when your understanding starts taking off, now you read it again, you go, oh, he actually means this. Mm-hmm. Oh, that applies. If we take this, this, and this, and you put it together, now you're at a different level.
Yes.
Like, people are like, how do you learn this stuff? I'm not that smart. I didn't figure it out. I'm just the first one that gets to use it.
He's just quantum engineering.
I'm just smart. I'm just the first one that gets to use it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of how my journey went. I just I think when I asked him that question, like, how do we do this? I think he told me. I still understand what he's saying. But it was kind of like I had to get all that background information and that knowledge because I just kept meeting people and kept going down that path and learning things and reading books. And I will say there is a difference between search and research on the internet too. but that's another story.
Yes.
But as I went down that path, I started pulling all these ideas and thoughts together, and then I had the aha moment 15 years later. I was like, oh, I know how to do this now.
So where is your curiosity right now? Because when I look at biblical text, and I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you, Timothy Alberino is.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to his NEFCON
Really?
next month.
Oh, that'd be
You
fun.
should go. It's up in Montana.
Oh, I love Montana. Go
I
ahead,
love
sorry.
Montana too.
Sorry,
So-
that's a whole nother dialogue.
End of
Anyway.
June, I'm going to an
Oh,
Alberino
yeah.
conference. It was one of my goals this year, so
Awesome.
I'm so impressed that you know who that is. Because his book Birthright and all of the crazy stuff that he goes off on, like I feel like I met a kindred here. He's off in some other channels, and I'm like, I literally read his book with a Bible in my other hand. And I'm
Yeah. It's amazing.
like, there's nothing you're saying that I can scripturally disprove.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, and it's funny because a good friend of mine was a worship leader at the church and whatever, and we ended up going out to dinner one day and we were chatting, and I start going off on my, I'm going to call it my conspiracy theory stuff, but I start going off on this, and he's just like, dude, like, and it was almost like, I want to tell you you're wrong, but I can't because nothing you're saying is wrong.
Yeah.
But I want to disbelieve you. And I'm like, I got to be careful who I say this to. So now I'm saying it on a podcast. But the reality is that so much of what we talk about in quantum explains
Yeah.
a lot of what he's talking about.
100%. Yeah.
Like,
100%.
the fact that there's vibrational fields around us that we just don't see, we don't hear. we don't-
different dimensions. Yeah.
Correct. That
Yeah.
dimensions themselves
Yeah.
are just different frequencies.
Yeah. That's it.
Like, how do we? Now, I'm going to ask you. You've spent a lot more time in this space than I have. 'Cause I've dipped my toe and feel like I've, taken the red pill and now I'm going to be seeing things. Well, no, I got to tell you, man. Like, I actually
I understand exactly what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
have a friend of mine who went and did Biocybernaut.
Yeah.
You know Biocybernaut, right? They're like in Sedona or something
Yeah,
like that. And he went and did Biocybernaut, and then when they measured brain frequencies and everything else on that, and
Absolutely.
the researcher was just like, well, you've got the angel signal. And he's just like, what are you talking about? And he's just like, you got an angel frequency. And he's like, I have no idea what that means. And he's just like, well, if you look at this vibration, like, you're actually able to sense frequencies that other people don't. And he's like, that's, and he like goes through this whole deal. And then they literally went and did all of this other kind of work, and they did images of something with what he was doing, and literally in this isolation chamber where they put you to do this type of research,
Yeah.
like, there was literally another person in there with him, and this wasn't his imagination. Like, this was all captured on what they're doing at the exact same time that these frequencies took off.
Yep.
This was physically present.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's gotten to the point now, and he goes, when I go into flow state, and he goes, I literally see things around me.
Yeah.
Now I grew up in a church that would have been like, they demon possessed him. And,
Yeah, for sure. Me
all
too.
the demons are chasing
Me
him
too.
down
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
on. And I'm like, or is it that he literally has tapped into something?
Yeah.
And like, I was with him, multiple times, but like a month ago, we were talking about this, and I'm like, I need to know where you went. Like, I want to know, hook me up, tell me where this is. I'm going to go do
Absolutely.
this. I'm like, cause I want to know. Like, I've got a curious brain, and it's like, I want to know. And if you get to see angels, I want to see angels too.
Absolutely.
And so we get into all this, and like, so I want you to tell me, like, in this quantum space, because it's weird, right? Like,
We just don't understand it.
we
Yeah.
just don't understand it,
That's all.
right? It's like the autoimmune of physics. Like, what is
That's a good way to put it.
like, what is it that you've learned, and what is it that you just don't know?
Oh, everything. I don't know anything. So I was thinking about this the other day. It's crazy we're talking about this. I was raised in church, Southern Baptist. We got saved, like, you don't even know what's going on, you get saved. But then you develop a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so I was always kind of been tapped in, but don't even know, right? But here's the thing. I'll start talking to I'll have friends or whatever, and I'll start talking about different things, kind of like what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at me and they go, what are you talking about? Or I'll meet PhDs or professors or people out in the field, and I'll start talking to them. We'll start talking about truth versus fact and all this crazy stuff. And they look at me and they're like quick, I had this guy and this chiropractor, and then me and this pastor, we were doing these tests, and me and this pastor started getting this real deep conversation, kind of like we were doing. And then me and pastor were going back and forth. It was great. We were flowing, and he was talking about this and quantum, and it's just like the Lord was just speaking through us. We were figuring stuff out as we were going. And the chiropractor and my friend, he's like, you can see him going, what are y'all talking about? And the crazy part is I didn't get this, but they can't understand what we're talking about because they haven't unlocked it by getting saved and getting the Holy Spirit within them. Once I got my prayer language and got the Holy Spirit within me, that bumped me up to a different level. And all of a sudden, I could receive information and get stuff that I just couldn't understand before. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of people out there that I'll talk to that just don't get it, but they can't get it. Like when Jesus was saying all that stuff, he's like,
but they have a veil.
Yeah, but he gave it, but when he died, then the helper came. He goes, you want me to go away? Because then you get the helper, and the helper will unlock everything for you. Why are we tapping into that? That's like some knowledge. That
same spirit that raised Christ from the dead
is
within you.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, so I'll get my friend saved, and I was like, you'll know what I'm talking about now. And they'll go, bro, I understand what you're saying now. I'm like, yeah, because that's God's word. He already wrote it in your heart, but it unlocks it. And they're like, I understand what you're saying now. And I was like, yeah, you start. He goes, that's the first time I'm starting to get it. It's wild. I'm like, and no one talks about this.
Right.
And it's just, so for me, people are like, how do you learn this? Like, I go to church, read the word.
That's how I learned quantum physics.
Yeah. But he's the one that made it. He's the one that made it.
Fair.
So I'm like, but he also says, ask and he'll give you knowledge. So I'm like, Lord, how's that work? How's that work? And I've never heard him speak to me audibly or nothing like that. But I get a thought, I get an idea, or I meet somebody, and they'll tell me exactly what I've been trying to figure out. And I'm like, oh. Mm-hmm. And then we build it together. Because try to think of something you never thought of before.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't. But if you can get information and then link it all together, then you can grow your knowledge base. And that's more or less. But because of God, I'm able to, it's not me, but it's him working through me. I'm able to get and download information and get stuff done. It's at a whole different level. And I think that's kind of where we're at. And I feel like I haven't done anything. I feel like there's so much more to do.
You just used the word download, and it makes me laugh because I was actually talking yesterday to Linda, who's the founder of WaveWatch.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and I was talking with Linda yesterday and just asking, what's your story where you've developed frequencies and so on and so forth? And she's like, well, there was this, and one day I just got this download and knew exactly what I needed to do. And I was like,
she was searching it out, and then she finally put it all together.
It's fired, and here we go.
And the Lord put it in there. Yep.
And she's like, and this is what happened. And I kind of laughed. I was like, that's a kind of a cool way of thinking about that. And she's like, it was just, here comes the download, this is what happens. And it was funny because I'm like, we talk about this biohacking space, and one of the things that I kind of laugh about is that I think there's so much of there's three different dimensions to biohacking in some respects. And that is there's the people that get so science deep that that they lose any kind of value to anybody because they're just so weird. And then you get the people that are like way up here in the spiritual realm that are just chakra all over the place and like literally have lost touch with the rest of us that are still here on earth. Like, but there's this necessity for this. And I'm like, it's funny to me that twice now in 2 days that somebody has in this space who has an unusual, ununderstood science says, I just got a download from God.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I've brought this technology to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, that's kind of funny to hear that twice in a row, though, that literally the same words, like, I got a download, this is what happened, and this is why my product works. I'm like, it doesn't market well, by the way, as a marketing guy. But the reality is like, I can look and say, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But I want to go one step deeper
go for it.
into quantum, though.
Yeah, please.
Because how do we've unpacked that it exists, we unpacked all this other kind of stuff and the connection between science and spirituality, but now we're talking about it exists in a t-shirt. Like Jesus didn't bring t-shirts to earth, right? Like what? How?
So I always, when people ask me this question, I always kind of go back to like the word quantum's been thrown around so much. Like the classical definition is super small and cold. Like that's kind of like the basis of quantum, because like I don't know if y'all seen the Ant-Man, but he's like shrinking, and he goes, so it's super small and cold. But then they play around with the definition, so it really kind of depends on the definition that they want to play around with. So that's how I think. I go, let's go break it down to the smallest point and then build it out. So for me, that's why I'm like, yeah, sure, maybe we're in the quantum space doing that, but I figured out basically the frequency that interacts with the muscles. And then I had to figure out how to embed into clothing. So I built a machine, and that machine, the output of that machine, if I put it on you, your muscles would let go. All those engaged muscles. Not the muscles being pulled, not scar tissue, but the engaged muscles. We can go into that. It's how the body works. That's a whole different, that's a fun subject to talk about. And I was like, I don't like cords, and I don't like machines. And I thought, how can we make this more applicable for people to use? Right. And so I said, I wonder if I can take the output of this machine and stabilize it. And I said, I bet I can put it in fabric. And sure enough, I had to build a whole nother machine to be able to stabilize the output of the first machine into fabric. And I was like, I wonder how long this is going to last. Well, it's been almost 10 years now, and the original shirts still work like day one. But the way that we bonded in there is a submolecular, right? So it's literally within the cell, within the shirt. I think that's why it won't wash out, because we made it basically part of the shirt at that point. And so it's just a frequency or a signal that's coming off of it. It has to be within about 1 inch of your body, and then it works.
So if you were to take this shirt and just stick it in your machine, it would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
that's the beauty of it.
So the fact that you're selling T-shirts and all this other kind of stuff, it just happens to be.
We have to showcase it, we thought about doing a model where people just send us stuff, but if FedEx lost it, or if we lost it, if we got it wrong or something, so it's just easier to do this model at this point.
Well, but I'm just saying your SKU list is unlimited.
Yes.
You can literally imprint that on any fabric.
Yep.
Like dog sweaters. Like,
do we have them?
I mean, like, literally, you can do anything with it at that point. At that point, you almost become a fashion company.
Yeah, one time I sat down and I said, okay, how many different verticals could we do? And I got to 53 and I stopped.
Right. Yeah, become amazing
like,
at
let
one.
me do one, and then we'll go maybe to two, because the
possibilities are endless. Yeah. Like that's fascinating, and it's all because you just have a machine you built. I'm assuming at this point you've expanded into more than one machine in a warehouse.
Yeah, so the crazy part is when I first started, 6 months in or so, I was able to produce 4 shirts. I started with shirts, just to me it made more sense. So I have 4 like prototype shirts, but it took me 6 months to build out 4 shirts. And I was like, okay, if I want to do production, and then from there, I just had download. We figured it out. Now we can go into bigger productions. So just need the bigger the space, the more stuff we could do.
So what if you made underwear?
I really want to, but what I found out is I could care less about clothing, even though I have a clothing company. And so we're looking for partners, and we found some that already have invented the perfect kind of clothing. And so now we're going to merge the perfect kind of clothing with our technology. So yeah, we could, like you said, we could do anything.
Well, I'm curious, like this whole get lambs, EMF blocking underwear and all this other kind of stuff is a big thing with fertility. And
oh yeah, I'd love to do a partnership with somebody like that
does EMF blocking.
Oh yeah, why not?
Have a company.
Oh well, let's talk.
They use silver for EMF blocking technology.
Yeah, because the infrared blocker as well and all that stuff. We could just put all the technology in one fiber or one fabric, one clothing. Wash stuff in that. Oh yeah, for sure. I already have played around with the silver. I have like super high silver concentrated fabric There's one company we're talking to, everything good, and I don't know if they went out of business or what. They won't respond, so it's really odd. It was a very small company, but they gave us some sample stuff, and I tested periodically. It still worked really well.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to try this because I've seen you at shows before, and you're always swamped with people around you, and
yeah, it's crazy.
I'm impatient, so I don't wait in line. But like I know people who have, and they speak super highly of it. And then when you got booked on here, I was like, oh, cool, I can actually understand this stuff. And then again, you turned out to be really cool.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
But yeah, like I'm fascinated by what you're doing here. Brian's brand is called Intelligent Threads, and I'm assuming intelligentthreads.com.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
which super cool name, because that's makes sense. Good marketing right there.
Thank you.
But intelligentthreads.com. I'm fascinated by these conversations. Probably not the conversation you expected to come up here and have.
I love it. That's the best one I ever done.
Because it never turns out the way we expect.
No, and I think that's the best though.
I agree.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Like, I don't want to know topically. Like, I just want it's like voyeuristic, right? People just tune in and listen to somebody else's conversation. But I encourage in the show notes here, you're going to find stuff from Intelligent Threads. You'll see links and everything in there. Brian, like I'm so fascinated by this whole theory of quantum, whether that means super small and cold, or whether that means vibrational patterns that we don't understand, like whatever that even means. The reality is I think we can agree that there's a whole world out there that we don't even understand yet.
The whole rules of physics change when you drop down into that world.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we can't wrap our head around.
Right.
And I think our entire society and culture right now is in that same unlearning
100%
stage. Even the food pyramid, right? Like
Yeah,
exactly. Like, wait a minute here. You're saying that's not normal? Like, it's like everything we've thought we've known is now being turned upside down.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a perfect time for people to be realizing that there's a great big world that maybe we just don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's next level stuff. And it opens up a lot of existential questions. But hell, we're in the world of AI right now. Like, talk about an existential question. But this kind of stuff is absolutely fascinating to me. And like I said, it kind of aligns with where my journey in my head is going right now. But I encourage everybody, go check out Intelligent Threads. You got to try this stuff. Like, just put on a shirt and all of a sudden your muscles release. Like that's just bizarre. Like
it's very odd.
It's something that we just don't wrap around yet.
It's just not normal.
Yeah, it's something that we just don't understand yet. So pick it up. We'll put a coupon code or something down there in the show notes for you to save a couple bucks as you do that. And we'll see you next time on Performance Driven Living.